back to NYBA, I know you kind of spoke about it being like a community, like a brotherhood, mentor type of ship. I know of one of your teammates, Brandon Adams. He kind of tragically passed away through an unfortunate incident. Can you kind of tell me about the impact that might have had on the organization? Like, how was he in the organization? What is him impact? What does the impact do to the organization? Because he was very influential himself. Because I know he was one of the first people that kind of started in through the program. So he was kind of one of the mentors to some of the younger kids as well.
Just mentioning his name, when it's me, hearing his name is going to be a little bit emotional, but just because the relationship that we had, but to know that the mottos and the things that we were teaching and the kind of things that we still trying to embellish in our kids today was him, like really him, and to have him so close to. You teaching and you trying to be your best to everybody. You got all these other people's kids, and then you got so much responsibility on you of others, and then your own that's right there with you. That's your own. Maybe need you in ways that you think you're doing your best. Let me kind of, you know what I'm saying. You think you're doing everything you possibly can do, and you are because you see his progress. You see the change. You see everything is going up the ladder in a pace that you couldn't even imagine for yourself. So. When you just mentioned the name BDon, like Brandon Adams, it's going to get emotional because everything we've taught, everything we've shown was from a 7th, 8th grader. You know what I mean? From a 7th, 8th grader, not given a chance, very small in physical stature, played with a couple of other programs, not given a fair chance, given a run around, this, that, and the third, and some kind of way bounce in my hands. At the time, I'm just learning Dontae Jones as a coach, as a mentor. I'm just learning myself as an influence out here. And for someone, for that dad to come and say, hey, I've heard, I've seen, you just what my son need. Like, wow, you get that responsibility, and we hadn't even had the responsibility of the community yet. And like I say, the relationship and to see him grow and knowing that he trusted everything I said, he trusted everything we believed in. I could be a daddy to him. I could be a friend. I could be a brother, and then forget being a coach. We already established the basketball part to another level of more than any kid probably I had. But to know that he had overachieved in ways that he couldn't even imagine, man, and to have it taken away, it's such an inopportune time. Like, it wasn't even development time to even figure that one last moment of what I want to be out. That hurts more than anything because you don't get to see the fruits of. You only saw the journey. They don't get to see the fruits of what that was about. This is not the kid that we pegged. Even though he was ours, this is not the kid that we thought would make waves and splashes out. This is the least likely to succeed. And to know that your inner teachings and your beliefs were working, and to know that you can look at that kid and be like, man, yeah, he maybe not physically. He's probably not physically here, but he's always spiritually here in the way that we get down. And the way that I do what I do, and the way that I pour into these kids, he's my reminder. Because not many kids that we get in this program are All-American. Not many kids that we get in this program they don't know the basics of basketball like people think. We don't have a lot of great basketball players who sign up for skills and drills and sign up for our fall and winter league. We have parents who believe in us and also believe in their kid enough to trust us. You know what I mean? So when you, like I said, you got that kid who overachieved and the program was a positive for the program. So had some adversity, had some moments to where you still trust the program's belief and you get and got it all right. And I think some of the response after his death and some of the response in the celebration of his life following that can let you know the impact that he still has on everybody. That impact that he has on me is going to always be a daddy more than a coach. So I'm going to share him throughout every kid, a little piece of me and a little piece of the way whatever that was we had, I'm going to always be able to give. And I know that it to be true to work because he was one, like I say, Brandon BDon Adams was a firm believer of not just anything that Dontae Jones had to say. He was a believer of what the NYBA did as a program because his dad was. And Juan is still to this day, Juan Adams is still today a firm believer. But when you mention BDon, that he's our foundation now. He's the reason we can point towards and use his life nonviolence teaching, also in academic, overachieving. We can always use the sports part of it, and also be realistic. He was slight of frame. He wasn't the biggest cat. He wasn't going to University of Kentucky. He wasn't going to be a first-round draft pick, at least in our trajectory. You know what I mean? So the story we were talking about when we started the dream, to have that much passion and emotion for the program, for me to be blessed to have that kid right away as someone, and he's not the only one. He's not the only one, but he is the ultimate and probably of what we try to do and the way that we try to approach everything we do. And I'm glad you brought it up that way to mention to him, because he's propelling the program forward in ways we couldn't without his impact. You know, we were doing things good. We were doing things in the right direction, but sometimes the man upstairs throws a wrench in the way that the direction has to go. To constantly remind everyone involved that it's a certain standard and it's a certain level of expectation that we all have to hold in this program, much more than a basketball win. We may not win another trophy, we may not win another tournament. If we can get a lot of kids with the belief in themselves that we had at BDon, and then you tell me the NYBA is not a productive program. You tell me why we shouldn't be even larger than what we are if we can get kids who have no clue or no dream of the NBA to really enjoy the process of what basketball can do for you in order to get that other parts of life that people like myself and those people that volunteer their time able to share with these kids. Because I'm not the only successful person in the program. I'm not the only influential asset to the program. I'll be way naive to think that that's the case. But I always told you, I surround myself with people who I know are positive influences for me, who can do way better than I could do in certain situations. So therefore, I know those people around me, if I sit back and just be concentrated and focused on great at being me to these young men and young women in this program and share my basketball passion, those who are around will tend to be, if I'm correct in my assessment and judgment, we all the same. So if everybody influences that right there, even when I'm not getting my chance to share my moment for the next BDon, every person in that program has a little bit of that passion for it. Because this is a volunteer thing. This is a very few asset gain thing. This is a thing where if you don't put your time in 60, 70 hours a week like a real job, these kids are not going to have these opportunities, especially through the COVID and the pandemic. We hadn't even had gyms and opportunities to perform. So where all these kids go?
Yeah, no, and it's a blessing. A lot of people don't take that time out to realize a lot of the volunteer time that you all put out to kind of help and with this. It's just your own free personal time.
It is.
No incentive of it, but just to kind of the passion for
our
what you're doing.
Parents are our incentive.
Yeah.
The parents that believe in their kid, that's the incentive. Other than that, you are blessed to get any other reward other than that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that. And I was gonna mention myself because I know Juan. I know he's a great father, and then he was one of the first of my partners that I knew that actually had a son. So for myself and kind of the situation around BDon, I always looked at BDon because my son is a little bit younger than him. So I kind of always looked at BDon, kind of his way, what he was doing as like a track to kind of guide my son along the way as well. So I know in my heart, I always feel a certain type of way about it as well.
Yeah, it's tough.
I know his impact on just the community. And then like you said, it goes beyond. It maybe help kind of raise the standard at NYBA,
the expectation standard,
push it a little bit further, and then I guess so people can kind of know and realize what life is all about. You know, it's all about decisions and things like that, accountability. That it's all a part of life, even in sports and outside of sports as well. So, no, I'm definitely glad you kind of
man. That's Brandon forever BDon.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, forever Don.